Good afternoon. It's Friday the 13th. Don't know if I should be scared or not. And we're going to dive into the numbers, so maybe I should be scared. No, really, this is where I get to nerd out, and I love looking at the numbers of real estate. I'm Jonathan Lundy with the Lundy Group Real Estate Team. My team and I operate in the southwest corner of Missouri. Our typical areas are Joplin, Carthage, Carl Junction, Neosho, Webb City, and the surrounding areas here. We would love to help you buy, sell, invest in real estate. Shoot me a text, 417-439-7721. If you have any questions or if there's anything we can be doing for you in the real estate space. Now let's dive in. These numbers really aren't that scary. In fact, it's really eye-opening, I guess is the word I want to use, to see what's happening in the market. It can kind of explain maybe the way, what you're seeing when you're seeing signs or seeing pending signs. Let's dive in here. First off, let's start with just the data of the moment, which is there are currently 822 homes on the market in our market, meaning that if you just go click on Zillow, Realtor.com, or a realtor goes and clicks and says, quick search, there's going to be 822 opportunities. That's ranging everywhere from $0 to 4 or 5 million in our market. Now, I looked up on Bankrate.com, what's the average mortgage rate in the country, and that's sitting right now at about 6.87. So what we're seeing is interest rates are still relatively high, and when I say relatively, I mean over the last 5 years. Historically, we've talked about this before, they're actually pretty consistent. Historically, I believe the average rate when you go back 50 to 100 years is 6 to 7%. So 6.87, we're right there. That's the average rate. It's actually not that bad. However, when we're going back 5 years when people were getting a 2.7 rate, I understand it feels like a lot. It has moved quickly. So as we go into the market, I mentioned earlier 822 homes on the market. That absorption rate, and a quick reminder, that absorption rate is the rate at which homes come off the market, or how much a measurement of the inventory we have. The absorption rate is 3.34, meaning we have just over 3 months worth of inventory in our market. Average list price has once again dropped to $315,393. That is actually down from last year, almost 8%. Now, the median price is about $250,000, which is actually up a little bit from last year when it was $245,000. What we're seeing, again, the average, the median is a little bit lower. There are a lot more homes on our current market, in our market, at $250,000 or less, and then we do have a few other homes, of course, that are moving that average up to the $315,000. Now, average sales price, we've actually seen this continue to grow. I know, right? Everybody's saying the market's tough, the market's terrible, it's going down. No, the average sales price is actually going up, which is a great thing. In this case, it's actually only going up 4%, and I would say that's great on all sides, even for the buyers. Yes, price is going up, and it's going up at a manageable rate. It's not exploding 10%, 20%. It's going up at a manageable rate, yet it's continuing to appreciate, and that's what we want to see in real estate. So the average sales price, again, is $228,346 in our market. Now, the median sales price, it's going to be $201,000. Once again, this is just showing that there are more homes selling below the average than are above the average. Now, average days on market, what's happening there? We actually saw that get a little bit shorter from last month. So last month, you may remember, it was at 90 days. It just crossed that 3-month timeline. We're actually sitting at 81 days right now. Now, this is less than last month, but more than at this time last year. So this means that the market is starting to heat up. We're moving into our spring and summer markets. We've had a lot of rain here lately, and that may have dampened the market. For real, it did. It totally dampened it. And we are seeing that the days on market, although decreasing from month to month, it is increasing year over year. So we are again seeing that market continue to slow just a little bit while prices are rising. That's a great thing. We're seeing, to me, a somewhat stable market despite the feeling, because I'm talking to buyers and sellers every day and I'm talking to other agents, and it can feel a little crazy. But when you look at the data says we've got a stable market slowly growing. And right now, I think that's a good thing. Now let's dive into the actual data of the homes themselves, what's selling, what's not, what's moving. Sold listings, we're going to start there. So this in the month of May, we saw sold listings actually decrease from this time last year by 15%. What's interesting is year over year at this point, we're down 4.9%. So we are seeing the number of homes sell actually drop, which is again why we're seeing more and more inventory, or one of the reasons we're seeing more and more inventory. Now, in the sold category, where we saw the highest concentration of home prices, or the sales price of homes, was in the $200,000 to $250,000 price point. Makes a lot of sense when you go back to our average and median sales price. We had 52 properties in those price points sell. Moving on to pending listings. Pending listings, this is going to be what's under contract. Now, good news here, that is actually increasing year over year and month over month. We're actually up 1.3% from this time last year. That's a good thing. And when you just look at the January till now and last year January till now, we're only up 0.6%. I'm going to call that basically steady. And in an environment today where there seems to be a lot of uncertainty, interest rates are relatively higher than what we're wanting them to see, or what many buyers are wanting to see. We're still seeing a market that is incrementally increasing, appreciating despite the pressure. That's exactly what we want to see. In the price points, the greatest concentration, once again, 200 to 250,000. There were 43 properties that were under contract. Now, diving into active listings. So this is currently what is on the market. We did see to me, a fairly large increase when you consider last year at this time. So May from last year considered to May this year. We saw an almost 15% increase in listings, active listings on the market. Definitely we're seeing a lot more properties hit the market. Now, last month, I believe, if we looked at this data, we saw a huge increase, and I even highlighted the increase in the $160,000, $180,000 price points. This month, what I noticed is the highest concentration is actually between the $200,000 and $400,000 price point. We've seen a lot more homes hit the market, on the market currently in those price points. Now, maybe this is because when you look at the average sales price, when you look at the median sales price, you'll notice that there are more of the properties that are a little bit less priced than this selling, meaning that the ones that are above that, $250,000 and higher, are on the market a little bit longer, and we're seeing that in the active listings. In fact, we saw the greatest increase in the $300,000 to $400,000 price points, with 134 homes on the market this year as opposed to 111 last year. So definitely seeing an increase there. And when you look at across the entire market, we are seeing an increase pretty much all the way through, in that there are more homes. Every price point has more. In the lower end price points, where you're looking at under $80,000, those can be a little different, just because those properties definitely move off the market quicker. And in an environment like we have now, sometimes those are even moving faster, right? Just there's not a lot of them, and people want to take advantage of that. Now, new listings hitting the market. This is going to somewhat reflect what we're seeing in the active listings of what's on the market. New listings on the market, we had 462 in May, as opposed to May last year of 404. Once again, a 14.4% increase. We're seeing more listings hit the market, with a high concentration being in that 200 to 400,000 price point. The highest concentration of new listings, though, is the $200 to $250,000 price point, which once again coincides beautifully with our average price point. Bottom line, we are seeing a market that is definitely feeling the strain of the economy, and despite all of that, we're seeing higher sales. And by that, when I say higher sales, I'm looking at higher sales. The pending sales, right? We're seeing more sell right now. Yes, over time, when we look year over year, when we look January till now, from January till May last year, it has been a decrease. It's been a decrease of, I think I mentioned earlier, almost 5%. And yet for this month, we're seeing that being pretty stable. What I'm seeing is a market that seems to be fairly stable. It's a good market. If you're looking to buy a home, it seems to be appreciating at a manageable rate, where you're not necessarily coming in being like, oh my goodness, last year my friend paid 100 and now I've got to pay 150 for the same property. No, based on the numbers, last year it may have been 100 and this year it's 104. That's pretty manageable. And on the sales side, despite the doom and gloom that may be in the news, it's actually continuing to appreciate once again. Although on the sales side, for sure, we want to see that 20% increase, right? I want to buy a home for $100,000, live in it 6 months, and just have it be worth $120,000. Okay, really, I want it to be $520,000. In our market, though, what we're seeing in this economy is a slow appreciation rate, and it's a fantastic thing to see in our current circumstances. If you have any other questions, shoot me a comment, text me. I gave my number, 417-439-7721. We would absolutely love to answer your real estate question and help you make a purchase or a sale in real estate. Until next time, make it an amazing Friday.